Have you ever felt so alone, so misunderstood, that you felt like an alien in your own life? If so, then let's delve into the story of Olivia, a girl whose enigmatic presence and silent demeanor cloaked her in an enigma from a young age. But her journey started even before that. From the very moment of her birth, Olivia was different. She was born during a tempestuous night where thunder roared like a wild beast and lightning flashed like the anger of the gods. Her first cry echoed in the unnerving silence that followed a deafening thunderclap, a sign that she was not going to be an ordinary child. The storm outside mirrored the one brewing within her, a tempest of questions, of isolation, of otherness. Her parents, loving and well-meaning as they were, could not truly fathom their daughter's silent intensity. They would look into her dark, brooding eyes and feel an inexplicable chill creep down their spines. Those were not merely windows, they were portals to a soul that seemed to repel others without even trying. A soul that was cocooned in layers of an enigma they would never decipher. Her childhood was a labyrinth of confusion and misunderstandings. Whispers of her off-putting nature fluttered around her like an unkindness of ravens, casting her as the outcast in her own narrative. She was like a living paradox, a puzzle that the world seemed to give up trying to solve. Playground laughter turned into hushed whispers when she walked by. Birthday party invitations dwindled, and even her teachers found it hard to connect with her. And then came adolescence, that tumultuous period of angst and identity crises. Olivia's otherness, already a prominent part of her life, only magnified. Her classmates would gather in cliques, talking about boys, fashion, and the latest pop hits. Olivia, on the other hand, was more interested in the mysteries of the universe, the riddles of philosophy, the secrets hidden within the verses of ancient poets. The chasm between her and her peers widened further, pushing her to the outskirts of social circles. Yet Olivia found solace in her solitude. She embraced her otherness, her uniqueness. She understood that she was destined to walk a path less traveled, a path that might be lonely, but also one that allowed her to truly be herself. So, have you ever felt so alone, so misunderstood, that you felt like an alien in your own life? As she transitioned into adolescence, this feeling of otherness only intensified, pushing her further to the outskirts of social circles. But then, there was James. James, a unique individual who stood out from the crowd for his unusual perception and understanding. He was someone who dared to see beyond the surface, who was captivated, not just by Olivia's silent aesthetic charm, but also the mystery that surrounded her. He wasn't intimidated by the enigmatic aspects of her personality, but rather found himself drawn to them. This was James, someone who didn't just notice Olivia, but truly saw her for who she was. He saw Olivia, not just through her quiet beauty, but also her hidden depths, a beauty that was subtle, not ostentatious. It was her low-key charm that drew him in, her underlying strength that held his interest. Her beauty was not just physical, it was in her endurance, her persistence, her resilience. It was in the way she navigated through life, carrying her burdens with grace, never allowing them to diminish her spirit. Captivated by this, James, unlike the rest, didn't shy away from her mysterious aura. Instead, he took it upon himself to unravel the complexity that was Olivia. He saw not just her enigmatic aura, but also the pain and loneliness that hid behind her mysteriously captivating gaze. He was intrigued by the dichotomy of her personality, her strength and vulnerability, her courage and fear, her joy and sorrow. He wasn't put off by these contradictions. Instead, he endeavored to understand it, to understand her. In James, Olivia found an unlikely ally, a beacon of hope in her world of isolation. This was not simply a friend she found in him, but a confidant, a companion, someone who would be there for her without any judgment, someone who would stand by her as she navigated through life's rough terrains. Their bond was not just companionship, it was kinship of souls. Their friendship blossomed, evolved into something more, something beautiful. A bond that was not just based on mutual understanding, but also on mutual respect. They supported each other, stood by each other in the face of adversity. Their bond was one that was forged by shared experiences, by mutual struggles. It was a relationship where they not only saw each other, but also heard each other. Their bond was built on trust, on acceptance. For the first time, Olivia felt seen, heard, and accepted. She didn't feel invisible or unheard. She felt acknowledged, recognized. She felt valued, not for what she could offer, but for who she was. She felt loved, not despite her flaws, but including them. But as their love deepened, so did her fears. A nagging feeling of uncertainty began to creep in, whispering that it was all too good to be true. She wasn't sure if she could trust this newfound happiness, this newfound love. It felt too perfect, too seamless. A sinister doubt had begun to surface, whispering fears into her heart, fears that this could all be an illusion, too good to be true. And then, her world came crashing down. James, a man she had invested so much emotion in, confessed his harsh truth. He proclaimed with a heavy heart that he could never find himself genuinely in love with her. His feelings, as he put it, were more driven by a harrowing mix of pity and curiosity rather than the heartfelt affection that she yearned for. His words, they pierced through her. The revelation, as brutal as it was, managed to break the fragile shell of hope that Olivia had clung onto desperately. She had been living in this delicate bubble, wishing for a world which with a single utterance had been popped, catapulted back into the cold, ruthless reality of her solitude. The departure of James from her life was a blow that she had not anticipated. His absence left an echoing void in her heart that had once been filled with warmth and the hope of love. She was left grappling with a broken heart and the painful reality of her situation. In the wake of this emotional upheaval, Olivia found herself confronted with a haunting question. It was a question that gnawed at her very soul, keeping her awake in the darkest hours of the night. Was she destined to be alone? Devastated and disillusioned, Olivia retreated further into her shell, bolstering the formidable barriers that encased her heart. She made sure to push people away, succumbing to the destructive belief that she was destined to suffer in solitude, forever alone. This understanding of her fate was not merely a passing thought or fleeting feeling. Rather, it was a profound realization, a certainty that was as cold and harsh as the winter that shrouded her tiny town in icy silence. She was like a lone wolf, destined to tread the carpet of snow by herself, her footprints the only evidence of her existence. She pondered the question that gnawed at her soul, a question that had haunted her ever since she could remember. Why did no one like her? Why was she sentenced to a life of unrequited love and ceaseless despair? These were not merely rhetorical questions, but rather a desperate plea for understanding, a cry for answers that seemed eternally elusive. She replayed every instance of rejection, each moment of humiliation, over and over again in her mind, her heart wrenching with every cruel memory. Like a broken record, her past repeated itself, forming a relentless cycle of pain and misery. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the weight loneliness grew heavier, pressing down on her spirit. She reminded herself of the countless times she had tried to fit in, the numerous occasions she had altered her personality, her appearance, even her dreams, just to be accepted. But each attempt only ended in further disappointment, driving her deeper into her shell. She felt though she was trapped in a dark abyss, unable to escape the clutches of her own despair. Despite her circumstances, she held on to the faint glimmer of hope that still flickered within her, like a candle clinging onto its last thread of wick. Every night, under the watchful gaze of the stars, she whispered a silent prayer. It wasn't merely a mumbled request or a half-hearted wish, it was a desperate plea, a heartfelt cry to the universe. She prayed for someone, somewhere, to see her for who she truly was, beneath the layers of defense and the mask of indifference. She yearned for someone to uncover the real Olivia, the girl who loved to dance in the rain and chase after butterflies. She longed for someone to understand her, to accept her, to love her in spite of her flaws and imperfections. She hoped for someone to break down her walls, to penetrate her defenses, and to reach her isolated heart. And so, Olivia's tragic tale continues to unfold in the shadows. Every night, under the watchful gaze of the stars, she whispers a silent prayer, a plea to the universe for someone, somewhere, to see her for who she truly is, and to love her despite it all. This is the story of Olivia, a girl misunderstood and unloved, misunderstood not by the chance of fate, but by the cruel whims of her surroundings. Olivia, a delicate soul, continues to traverse through the labyrinth of her own loneliness, a labyrinth filled with echoing silence and shadows of despair. The hapless girl enveloped by the chilling winds of solitude, a girl who stands alone against the odds of life and the tormenting abyss of isolation. Caught within the swirling vortex of her own thoughts, Olivia yearns for a genuine connection, a connection that breathes warmth, a connection that teems with life. Her heart ceaselessly yearns for this connection, for this feeling of belonging. Yet she finds none. It is as though her pleas and cries for companionship fall on the deaf ears of an indifferent world. Each passing day, each fleeting moment, Olivia's fight spirals on. It's a fight against the devouring solitude that preys on her. A solitude that's both her constant companion and relentless adversary. Olivia's journey, fraught with trials and tribulations, is a testament to her unwavering spirit and unyielding resilience. Yet at times the solitude threatens to consume her, to swallow her whole. But still, she fights on. This is the story of Olivia, and her ongoing fight against the solitude that threatens to consume her. But Olivia, despite her loneliness, held on to a glimmer of hope, a hope as fragile as a dewdrop on a leaf, as precarious as a flame flickering against the gusts of wind. It was a hope that whispered promises of a better tomorrow, of a day when her solitude would be a thing of the past. This hope was not just a mere figment of her imagination, but a beacon that guided her through the darkest corners of her labyrinth. It was her hope that one day she would find someone who truly understands her, someone who sees beyond her quiet exterior and appreciates the vibrant universe within her. Olivia believed, with an unwavering faith, that she was not destined to be alone forever. She held on to the belief that somewhere, amidst the vast expanse of the world, there was someone who would share her dreams, her fears, and her joys. Someone who would walk with her through the maze of life, hand in hand, stride for stride. Her hope gave her the strength, the fuel to fight against her solitude. Each day, she woke up with a renewed determination to push back against the encroaching shadows of loneliness, to carve out a space where she could belong, where she could love and be loved. And so, Olivia continues her fight, holding on to the hope that she will find the love and understanding she so desperately seeks. A hope that continues to flicker, a beacon in the dark, guiding her through the labyrinth of solitude towards the promise of a brighter tomorrow.